In this video, we'll discuss those selected leading cases. So, out of important leading cases, we have selected only 20 number of important leading cases, and those we'll discuss one by one. So, the first important leading case in law tort is Limpos versus London General Omnibus Company. So, regarding that, if a servant performs certain act which indicates recklessness in his conduct, but which is within the course of employment and is calculated to serve the interest of the master, then the latter will be saddled with responsibility for it. So, in the case Limpos versus London General Omnibus Company, the driver of an omnibus willfully and contrary to express orders from his master pulled it across the road in order to obstruct the progress of the plaintiff's omnibus, which was thereby overturned. In action for negligence, it was held that if the act of driving across to obstruct the plaintiff's omnibus, although a reckless driving, was nevertheless an act done in the course of the driver's service and for that which he thought best for the interest of his master. The master was responsible, and we will go to the second important leading case, that is Phillips versus Ayer, the then Jamaica governor, and it is otherwise known as the Jamaica governor's case. No action will lie in England for an act committed in a foreign country if it is either lawful by the law of that country at the time of its commission or was excusable or was subsequently legitimatized by virtue of ex post facto legislation in such country, though the act complained of should be wrongful both by the law of England and by the law of the country where it was committed, yet it is not necessary that it should involve liability to civil proceeding in the foreign country unless the act was innocent or justifiable by the law of the foreign country. It was material to consider what the remedy might be by the law of that country. Again, it is no defense to an action for a tort committed in a foreign country that by the law of that country no action lies till the defendant has been dealt with criminally, for that is mere matter of procedure. So in Phillips versus Ayer or the Jamaica's governor's case, an action for false imprisonment was brought against the governor of Jamaica, who pleaded that the arrest was made in connection with the suppression of a rebellion and had been declared lawful subsequently by a local law. An act of indemnity of the Jamaica legislature. The court observed it appears to us clear that whereby the law of another country an act complained of is lawful, such act though it would have been wrongful by our law if committed here, cannot be made the ground of an action in an English court. And now we'll go to the third important selected leading case, that is Bard versus Jones. Every confinement of a person is an imprisonment, whether it is be in the common prison or in a private house or in stocks or even by forcibly retaining one in public street. In this leading case, that is Bard versus Jones, Justice Cullery said a person may have its boundary large or narrow, visible or tangible, or though real, still in the conception only it may itself be movable or fixed, but a boundary it must have, and that boundary the party imprisoned must be prevented from passing. He must be prevented from leaving the place within the ambit of which the party imprisoning would confine him except by prison, which is a breach. So, confusion seems to me it arise from confounding imprisonment of the body with mere loss of freedom. It is one part of the definition of freedom to be able to go whichever place one pleases. But imprisonment is something more than the mere loss of this power. It includes the notion of restraint within some limits defined by a will or power exterior to our own. In an action for false imprisonment, the plaintiff need not prove an actual imprisonment in the sense of imprisonment in a goal. He must prove, however, that there is a complete deprivation of his liberty. Thus, no action lies where the plaintiff is lawfully prevented from going in a particular direction. Thus, in the case Bard versus Jones, a portion of a bridge generally used as footway was appropriated and attempted to climb over the enclosure. The defendant pulled him back, but the plaintiff succeeded in climbing over. Two policemen were then stationed by the defendant to prevent him from passing onwards in the direction in which he wished to go. The plaintiff was told to go back into the carriage way and proceed to other side of the bridge. If he pleased, he refused to do so and remained there where he was obstructed for about half an hour. The court held that this was no imprisonment. And now we'll go to The fourth important selected leading case, and that is Donegal versus Stevenson. The negligence to perform a duty owed under the law gives rise to a cause of action independently of the contract, and the contractual obligation in respect of the same does not extinguish the tortuous liability. This was the principle laid down in the case. The fact that there is a contractual relationship between the parties which may give rise to an action for breach of contract does not exclude the coexistence of a right of action founded on negligence as between the same parties independently of the contract, though arising out of the relationship in fact brought about by the contract. So, in this leading case, the plaintiff drank a bottle of ginger beer manufactured by the defendants, which a friend had brought from a retailer and given to her. The bottle contained the decomposed remains of a snail, which were not detected until the greater part of the bottle had been consumed. The bottle was of dark, opaque glass so that the condition of its contents could not be ascertained by inspection. The plaintiff suffers from shock and severe gastroenteritis in a suit by the plaintiff to recover damages. It was held that the defendants were liable. The defendants plead that there was no direct contractual relationship between him and the plaintiff because the friend bought the bottle was rejected. In an action for negligence, it must be definitely shown that there was breach of duty to take care on the part of the defendant. The question whether the defendant's conduct amount to negligence or breach of duty to use reasonable care is a question of fact and had to be decided with reference to the facts of each case. The very degree of care which would be reasonable in different cases cannot obviously be defined. It should be borne in mind that the categories of negligence are never closed. So, we have finished four important selected leading cases in this video, and in our upcoming video we'll discuss all the remaining selected important leading cases relating to law tort.